everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight is our, and you could tell the intro was completely off. We are tired. We've been doing a lot here. So I'm going to bring up my co-host tonight, Annette from Audubon Hayes Society. So forgive me for the intro being off. The outro will be correct. Tonight we are discussing co-op and transportation and a little touch of delivery, because there actually are no delivery regulations in this pack. So I think those will come out a little later. Annette, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be in the home stretch here.
Home stretch. Listen, you got what, a little over 10 days to make your comments. So
I want to make sure that we shout out. You can go to New York State Small Pharma.
yes,
They have a very easy way to comment. You just go onto her link tree, and Nicole has done a great job of setting it all up for you. You just click through her process, and it's going to send an email from your email. So
exactly. And you
over
can
there,
edit
if you,
comments that populate. If you don't
yeah.
agree, you could edit, and then just hit send. The more the merrier. So, and then you wanted to share the New York City thing we were both doing,
Yeah,
right?
so we're both on that because Deshita Dawson has activated a group of amazing people across the state, from out of state, folks that have good expertise to really discuss these regs. And so there's two more sessions with New York City Cannabis or Cannabis NYC,
Cannabis NYC.
from the small business point of view. And so there's two more sessions. You can go to their page and sign up for February 3rd and February 4th. And I believe they're both from 9 to 12 in the morning. And
Yes, they are from 9 to 12. And they were really good. They're not, again, they're not line by line, even though tonight we're kind of line by lining it because it's a pretty short section, but you have to kind of bounce back and forth. So I try to do as much as I can. But again, this is not a replacement for reading the regs. This is kind of just like a
high level
overview, cheats, cliff notes, whatever you want to say. And so, yeah, so today we're going to do co-op, and I'm going to bring them up. And then we'll rock and roll. If you got questions, ask them, put them in the chat, and we will literally just be going over them. And then if you have any comments, feel free to chime in. Okay, so we're gonna start with distribution. Distribution. I was calling it transportation, but clearly I was incorrect. It's called a distributor license. I am actually, the reason why I wanted to do distribution, co-op, and potentially delivery was really because I think those are, cultivation's a heavy lift. Even it's less heavy in a co-op model, but it's a heavy lift. A lot of these licenses are a heavy lift. I didn't feel that transportation or distribution was as heavy. I felt it was really a doable thing. You know what I mean? So I got excited about it. So we're going to rock and roll and just jump in. Distributor ownership. What are you able to do? You can acquire and possess and distribute cannabis products. You can acquire them from a licensed person, which can include a processor, distributor, micro business, co-op, ROD and ROND. We all know that ROD is, what is it? Registered organization with dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
And ROND, ROND, is registered org, no dispense or not dispensing.
Mm-hmm.
A distributor can sell cannabis products to another duly licensed distributor, or to, again, these retail dispensaries, which can include a ROD on-site. And under no circumstances, this is where the caveat is here, under no circumstances may a distributor sell cannabis products to a distributor that also holds cultivation. There are only a couple of licenses that you can have more than one. It's cultivation, processing, and distribution. Um, so a distributor that is in alignment with a cultivator, no bueno. You are really just able to do it from distributor to retail, etc. Um, On-site consumption, etc. Again, if you've got comments that you want, this is where you start taking notes and be like, if you don't agree with something, start saying that you don't agree or you want clarification. A distributor, we're up here, a distributor or its true party of interest may be a party of interest in cultivation, processing, co-op, micro, rond. Now, this is when we went through this earlier. I noticed that you can be on the back end side of this, but you can't be on the front end side of that. Does that make sense to you, Annette? That you can be on the cultivator, processor, co-op, micro, run, no dispense. But if you go down, a distributor, well, let's skip one. If a distributor or its true party of interest may be a landlord, financier, goods and services provider, an adult use cultivator, processor, distributor, co-op, micro business, and ROND, subject to all restrictions governing such and such. But you cannot, on the front end, where was I? Oh, crap, I lost my space. I'm trying to find it because I have something blocking my screen. Yes. Right. Okay. In addition, where does it say where you can't?
I thought you couldn't combine, so you can't combine this with. No one can have an interest in retail dispensary, right? Or
right. So the back
you
end
can't be on the front
good, the front
side.
end you're not.
Right.
So in addition to other restrictions in this chapter, including but not limited to one to no distributor or its true party of interest is permitted to have any direct, this is this last one here, any direct or indirect interest in, but not including on-site consumption, delivery, ROD, which has dispensary, RO, cannabis lab, or permittee. Now, maybe Annette, you can help me with this. This is all under transportation or
this is all under distribution.
This
and
is all under distributor. This is for the distribution license.
Because this is like meant to protect like this 2-tier system, right? So you can't they like say, okay, these are the things that you can't vertically integrate into. So like if you're a distributor, you cannot have ownership in retail or on site, or delivery or registered organization with dispensary or a lab, so
right.
It's interesting, right? Because I don't know, maybe there's an opportunity to break up stuff here. I think this is a place where people might want to comment. And
Absolutely.
maybe there's folks that have thought about distribution and have said, well, why can't I combine this with X? I think this also goes back to like the micro business license conversation where they're saying, oh, hey, you have to do cultivation with a micro business, but we're like, wait a minute, what if I want to just do a micro business that only has like processing and distributing, or
right. We were having a conversation about that earlier too, so I get that.
Especially like also in New York, this could be a burden to find a space where you're going to be able to cultivate, process, and consume. Like, okay, so what? We're all going to go find places that have like rooftop grows or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know how practical that is. So I mean, that's one thing people have pushed back on, but that's kind of what I see here in this regulations.
Absolutely. Let's move on. What you can do. Yes, real estate is a concern. It's going to be a concern everywhere. I have a lot of folks thinking that they could do stuff at home. I don't know what you could do at home besides home grow. You know what I mean? There's going to be issues around what you can do with the distances between things also. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So a distributor shall comply with all the laws, only transport cannabis.
Shall means you have to.
Yeah. Shall means you must. Right. Between adult use cannabis licenses and between the licensed premises of adult use cannabis facilities for the purpose of distributing the cannabis products. So what it sounds like is you are able to warehouse. That's what it sounds like, because it says sell. So we need to figure out, there needs clarity around um,
But it says
this.
only transport
But
cannabis
in the
products
other one, it said sell.
between adult use cannabis licenses and between the licensed premises of an adult use cannabis facility for purposes of distributing the cannabis products, or employee thereof, or other person acting on behalf of a distributor who shall
Right.
possess or transport cannabis products upon the public highways, roads, or streets of the state. And they have invoices and manifests for such cannabis products.
And they have to literally, that is really like a big deal. If you've ever dealt with the state, even when you shop medical right now, you have allotments that are registered through BioTrack, right? If I go and purchase an eighth, it's going to count against my allotment, for whatever my doctor might have said. But in the same realm, when you have a manifest, everything that's in your truck going from point A to point B has to be accounted for. And in these regs, it specifies where is it going, who's it going to be collected by, what is it. You even have, we'll get to it, but there's like COAs involved that you need to have, because if God forbid you get pulled over, it says in the regulations that if you have unmanifested product, it's considered illicit. So everything has to be literally down to the pre-roll.
Yeah, this is a big compliance. This is compliance, right? They're talking about compliance and operations here.
Yeah, because you are traveling with stuff, literally traveling with way more than the 3 ounces allowed for a regular person. So that has to be taken into categories, This was what we were talking about. You have to maintain records on all cannabis products, distributed and retail dispensaries, on-site consumptions, and send such records to the office. Inventory tracking system, which I think will be BioTrack. Real time in a matter to be determined by the office, and it should have enough detail to independently determine the taxability. That's a whole other category.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yes. So now there will be software, the Dutchies of the world, the
I know.
of the world.
This is a lot
You
of,
have to literally sit there with your calculator, figuring stuff out, but it does need to be record kept.
Get those Excel gurus out there.
Listen, you will need
Excel spreadsheet gurus. You need them.
So on your teams, when you're building your teams, make sure you have a really good numbers
Excel person. Excel.
Someone who can reconcile stuff, create formulas, because we haven't really talked about that in these conversations, and they will literally be needing a team of very skilled people. You know what I mean? So if anything you're doing now, start putting your team together so that you can be good. You know what I mean?
Cover your bases.
Exactly. Yes, there will be a big CPA burden for distro. Absolutely. But hopefully there will be enough software systems.
Are you talking to the chat?
Yeah, I'm talking to the chat. Because we're doing a lot here.
Put the comment up, Tanya.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
We got a 2-women show tonight, so we're like.
Somebody asked this dispensary should be able to distribute, and they
are. So right now with the card licenses, they are allowed to deliver products, but they have the very same compliance
issues.
No, I wouldn't. There's points,
challenges, right?
Yeah. So I think there's questions about like how do you even set up this delivery process if you're card licensed and you don't have your business yet. So there's a lot of questions there. But yes, dispensaries can deliver their own products.
And that's the difference between transportation or distribution. I keep saying transportation. Between distribution and delivery.
Right.
Distribution is from license to license.
Business to business. Distribution is B2B.
and delivery is B2C, business to
Yep.
consumer, or a
Yep.
customer, client, whatever you want to call
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Um, okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Let me see if there's any other ones. Beep, bum, 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 bum. Hi, Jamie. Lack of warehousing is interesting, especially for beverages. We haven't even got to beverages yet, but it's
It'd be a
coming.
burden for manufacturers. The lack of warehousing is interesting. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Because it's not because distribution doesn't require a warehouse, or
well, yeah, I've heard
what do
so
you
many
say?
things, so we just have to go on face value right now because we don't have the delivery. And I heard that there was warehousing and delivery. So like I
I
was like,
don't know
wait,
about
what?
that. Yeah.
So we really have to just kind of go with what we got and wait for what's to come. But this is, like I said, this is the time to comment. That's what we really want you to do, is to, if something is not clear, how we are suggesting people make their comments is literally copying and pasting the statute, then saying, I'm looking for clarity, or I don't necessarily agree, and then why. So maybe it's a solution. Maybe you're offering a solution. Maybe you're offering an alternative, whatever. But I wouldn't personally, copy the statute and like, this sucks. Send. Like, I might not do that, because we want to be productive. And honestly, the only way they're going to know what you want is by you telling them what your suggestions are. A better way. I'd like clarity. Do you mean X or Y? You know what I mean?
John also said that they're predicting they're getting 10,000 comments. So I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I hope so. I hope we get more.
Listen, considering what we're doing, what the city's
The
doing,
city's
other
doing.
orgs are doing it.
Canada Bronx is collecting comments. We know that. Yeah. Shout out to all the organizations collecting comments. Yes. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the detailed information is really here: selling price, tax due, method of payment, the employee completing the sales, all that great stuff, all the identifiable information, a device used to complete the sales transaction, serial number, date and time, name and address, the dispensary or where it was taken to, the name and address of the licensed distributor, date. All this is really hopefully going to be software based, but it's what you would expect. I don't think anything is outrageous here. You know what I mean? Um, the form and the quantity, the employee completing the sale.
Although I don't know what this maximum margins, meaning, like, I guess they're like, so I guess distribution, you're only allowed to take a certain percentage. I mean, I don't know what that means. And any policies related to market competition. So maximum margins, I think I would need clarification on.
Yeah.
Because margins is like your profit, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so what's going on there? That's price posting requirements. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting one too, right? Like price posting. And I think that's for fair market.
Right.
At
And
least
that
that's
is,
what I'm reading
and this
there.
is distributor, so it's wholesale, I'm imagining.
Yeah, B2B, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it says. If you got comments, comment. Somebody had a how do you call it in there? I'm a woman-owned hemp dispensary with 2 retail locations. I have a criminal case background. My issue is banking. Ciara, everybody's business is banking. We all have banking issues.
We need an investor. I'm interested in a micro or just retail sales. Yeah. Ciara, we feel you.
We feel you. We feel you,
Money
honey.
in cannabis right now is.
And it's the time now. I'm gonna do a class next month about fundraising with some of the women in our community. Because even though we don't have regs yet, and everyone's like, I want to wait for the regs, I think there's conversations that can be had now. Those friends and family conversations can be held now. Putting your business plan together, kind of scaling what you potential scale is great to do now. Building your team, great to do now. So all right, let's move on. Did we hit the last two? We hit the last two. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. In addition to the requirement, you may not transport cannabis products to an adult use cannabis retail dispensary or on-site consumption for the purpose of retail sales unless it is a licensed distributor.
So that's just
Transport
everybody's gotta have a license, right?
license to license, license to license. Can transport products to a retailer on site unless the retailer on site holds a valid and current license as a dispensary, or it's a lot of repetition there. You may not accept, sell, or transfer, distribute, or agree to sell products unless it's in its retail packaging and labeled. That's good to know.
Part 128. Can we go back to 1 and 2? What's the difference? What is the difference here?
No.
Why is this twice? Oh no, because this on-site consumption or on-site consumption.
Hold on.
Someone can. This is interesting because it looks the same to me. So we gotta ask. So maybe the comment here is like, what's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference? I see Sierra made a comment.
The first one says adult use.
Yes. And the second one said retail dispensary or on-site consumption.
The first one says adult use cannabis retail dispensary, and the second one says to a retail dispensary. So this is weird.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I'm going to put some questions up there.
That should be a comment. No, not setting up, but selling hemp. I have been kicked out of 3 banks and 2 credit card processors. I'm now paying 3 times more. Yeah, I'm
going to be honest with you, Sierra. I don't even have a product because Canna is in my name, the Canna Diva. I can't get a bank account either. And I do events, non-THC events and education. And I can't get a bank account either because I have Canna in my name.
The thing I've heard is local credit unions might be a place to look.
And they're higher. They're still really higher.
What is the other one? The CFDIs or?
I know community banks, some credit unions.
Yeah, so just like look to see if there's like a local credit union. I feel like Dime Savings Bank was somebody
Apple Bank was good. Somebody put Valley Bank. Yeah, so it's the bank. No banks that you see commercials. Yeah. And Jack, Canna is a flag raiser. When you go like, I'd like to open a bank for the Canna Diva, they're like, I'm sorry, what now? And it's just a flag raiser. I can tell them till I'm blue in the face that I don't do any, sell any THC or even CBD. Nothing. I sell nothing. Maybe a T-shirt or a pin or something like that. But because I have Canna in the name, it was not fantastic. So Kim, I would send us a note, slide into the comments or something. She said Valley Bank, and she was able to get successfully get a cannabis bank account, and she had mentioned Valley Bank.
There you go, Kim Tompkins.
Yeah, so Valley National Bank is recommended in New York City. They've been banking card applicants.
Oh, there we go, Jasmine Burns. Shout out to Jasmine.
Yep.
Valley National Bank is recommended in New York City. I've heard they're banking card applicants. Oh, good. Thanks for the name. So that's a good recommendation.
And Ashley,
I'm going to write that one down. Valley National Bank. And if folks don't know, Jasmine is part of Claudine Fields Apothecary.
Cool.
Black cultivators upstate in the Berkshires, the first. So.
Yeah, number 1 says distributor has to have a license. Number 2 says dispensary or lounge must be licensed. It's still not clear, in my opinion. It really is not.
I mean, I would comment on that. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Tanya.
Okay. You cannot accept any unlabeled cannabis products. They shall be deemed illicit. I read that earlier as defined.
Illicit. Why do they have to use this language, illicit? They should say non-compliant.
Yes. It's illegal. That's what they want to say.
No, but that's
And then what else to say? And then penalties, blah, blah, blah. And it could result in cancellation, suspension, revocation of the license, and fees, civil penalties, etc.
and
So
any other penalty, we should ask for that explanation. Like,
I would like clarity
other,
around that. And
because
I
this is,
think there should be maybe a first time,
yeah,
or I don't know. I think that there shouldn't be, you shouldn't lose your license if a mistake, something happened.
yeah, yeah.
But it does say cancellation, suspension, civil penalties, which should be explained. Oh, where's she? Oh, hold on. Nicole is there. Let me let her in. Hold on. Give me a second. If you want to keep going, you can while I let Nicole up.
All right, and then we say accept, sell, transfer, distribute, or agree to sell, transfer, distribute any cannabis product that has not been tested pursuant. That makes sense. I think we want to make sure everything's tested. Furnish or cause to be furnished to any place, any exterior or interior sign, printed, painted, digital, or otherwise. Furnish or cause to be furnished to any license, any exterior or interior sign, printed, painted, digital, or...
So I don't think you can brand your truck.
Oh, I see.
That I mean, like, who would want to? In reality, if I'm a transportation person or distributor, why would I put a big weed sign on
why
big?
not? Why not? There's like, why not? Why not? There's Budweiser trucks. There's like there's like Heineken trucks.
For safety, I'm wouldn't. But I get it. I think it just sets you up. You know, I mean, but
maybe this. Yeah, I can see that.
It could just set you up, you know.
Okay.
Nicole is here. I'm bringing her up. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello. How was your class? Nicole is in the mentorship program.
It was good. It was all about compliance.
Well, look at that. We're all here. You need wine after that, right? Amongst other things. So furnish or cause the furnish and license any exterior sign. Hi, everybody. I'm gonna connect. Yes. Okay, cool. Yes, please. Hold on. Somebody, I'm in comments. All right, I'm gonna move on. Oh, that was it. that was easy enough. That was it. So that was not that bad. So P.S. I will put it in the chat. I use something called Speechify, which I think I've mentioned in the past, to help me go through this stuff. Speechify will help you read 280 something pages in 3 hours. So just let you know. All right, we at the next page.
What is
Speechify?
I never heard of it. What is it? What is it?
You just upload your PDF into the software and it reads it to you.
Nice.
And you can follow along. Helps me with comprehension. All right. So we did that. If any unlabeled cannabis, and you can't put signs all over your truck. That's how that's reading for me. What's the name of the Black Cultivators Group, huh?
Claudine Fields, Apothecary, Jasmine and King, Aswad.
And the Black Farmers Fund and Black Farmers United.
Jasmine was here in the chat, so they wanted to connect with her.
Oh, hi, Jasmine. Hi, King.
All right. So that was distribution. I love that license. I hope that, get a co-op out of it, but you can use it as
Does that mean no money will be FDIC insured? That's correct.
Yeah.
No safe
we got no federal nothing.
Yeah.
We got a federal nothing.
Dime Bank.
Okay.
They're only located in the city in terms of brick and mortar locations, but I've heard that Dime Bank is very favorable and that the state of New York is working with Dime Bank. And I think SunTrust is another one, and Valley National are two that are actually working with cannabis people.
Yeah, we heard that Valley. There's a Valley up by me too, so I'm gonna check them out. Maybe they will let me have a bank account. Okay, co-op. Co-op is very interesting. I have been studying co-ops for a long time. I love this license. Yeah, we put that one up already. And all right, so let's jump into co-op. A cooperative license. An applicant seeking to qualify as a co-op, you should be formed as a cannabis co-op under the following: co-op law, approval from the office based on one of two methods. You have to be certified as a cooperative by a local chapter. Here in New York, we have quite a few. The most popular in cannabis, I think, is Green Workers Co-op, but there are a few other co-op formation organizations in New York. I know of a couple up like by Buffalo, and some down here in New York City. So I would just Google co-op formation organizations if that's something that you're looking for, because you do need that certification as being a formed co-op, worker co-op or otherwise. And you could also need like a verification by a CPA, an opinion rendered by an independent CPA or other similarly credentialed professional, that the applicant would meet the criteria under subchapter T per the IRS. You need to have at minimum, meet the business authorizations and prohibitions under that section that we hit earlier, and indicate on the application for licensure the number of members in the co-op, the facility type, the size of the cultivation canopy if you are doing cultivation, and the type of cultivation set forth. Right now, the regulations state that you can do co-op as a co-op distributor, co-op cultivator, and co-op processor. Any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. So this slide is actually to let you know how to figure out how much square footage you can have if you're doing a co-op cultivation. So many words.
And you'll notice you cannot have less than 5 members. That's like
you cannot have less than 5 members.
And if you also notice, micro license was not in the co-op bundle, and I sort of thought that it would be. I was sort of operating on the assumption that micro licenses could form a co-op. You could have a co-op of micro licenses. So get your comments in if you agree.
Yes, exactly. So right here, and this is, we're going to kind of fly through this because it is in the regs just like this. From 5 people in the 5 members up to 15 members, that's the illustration they're giving you. The square footage based on the type of cultivation, indoor cultivation, right? Indoor, mixed light, combination, and outdoor, and all the way up to square footage, how much you can have. Now, we started to talk earlier about locations, because if it's a group of farmers doing co-op together on multiple locations, like you have your farm, I have my farm, we all have farms, is it 25,000 in total? Or is it 5,000 per member? Meaning, right, is it 25,000 each or 5,000 per member? So that was clarification that I would like, because I'm not sure.
It says on the top per number of members in the cooperative.
Yeah,
right.
So
is that the max or per person?
I
is
think
it 5 members can have a max of 25,000, or
I
5
think
members each can have 25,000? I don't know. It makes sense to me that it's 5 each for those 5 people, but I don't know. There's no clarification there. So I'm just curious.
I agree, but I also think that it's likely the max, because if you look at the outdoor, there's no maximum number of people in a co-op, and they're saying that 15 or greater has 150,000. There's no way that it's 15 times 150,000 plus whoever else. So I'm just saying on I too thought, oh, that was multiplied, but no, I think it's per number of members. So for 5 members, you get 25,000 indoor. It's the same, whether it's indoor, mixed light, combo, or outdoor. I don't know why they made it into a table because it's the same.
I would agree with that.
Okay, cool. So I just like clarity. Jack agrees with me. Hey, Jack. All right, let me move you over here.
True, Jack. True.
Okay. A co-op ownership, interest, business authorizations, and prohibitions. A cannabis co-op shall be publicly referred to as a cannabis collective. I love that name since I just launched the Canadiva Collective a couple of weeks ago. But so a cannabis co-op is a cannabis collective. A co-op shall have the same authorizations and same prohibitions as adult use cultivator, processor, and distributor. So now, if you want that, they tell you where to go. You got to go back there and look under those sections what those authorizations and prohibitions are. And then to the extent the co-op engages in those activities, because remember, right now we've got 3 tracks for co-op: the cultivator, processor, distributor. Co-op may engage or may conduct activities authorized by adult use cannabis processors at up to 2 premises. So you can have maximum of 2 locations at, that's what I'm reading.
Irrespective of what, no, for cultivation, it's
no, this is processor. Processor.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
A co-op may conduct activities authorized for an adult use cannabis processor at up to 2 locations. Now, if you wanted more, perfect. I imagine 1 nice processing location and everybody just plays inside. I just think that would be amazing. A co-op is not limited in the number of cultivation premises it may operate, provided that each premise over 6 additional application and licensing fees may apply. So 5 and under, 1 license. So those 5 members of that 5-member co-op, cultivation co-op, can technically have 5 different locations. But you have to stay under that. Right now, the way it's looking, minus clarification, you have to stay under that 25,000 square foot canopy. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yep. Or could you aggregate them onto one property? Like I get a license and 4 other people get a license and only one of us has land. Can we all aggregate our license onto that one land?
I would agree 100%. Yes. It makes sense to me, because remember, those 5 members don't have individual licenses. They are formed a co-op and they get 1 license.
That's right. I keep yes.
Correct. So, yeah.
You're right. So you need to form that co-op and that co-op gets the license.
So be careful with who you form your co-op with, because
all day, every day.
It's democratically run.
Not only that, but when they do the background checks on them, do they have investments in anything that's going to slow down the process?
Good point.
All that stuff. You have to make sure that you know your brother and sister well, that you're getting into your team with.
Yep. Honesty in this case is going to be a big deal. We did that. A member in the co-op shall not be a member of more than 1. A member in the co-op shall be a true party of interest. In addition to any other restrictions, including but not limited to, Part 1, no collective or its true party of interest is permitted to have any direct or indirect relationship to passive investor, landlord, financier, or management services provider for a retail, on-site, or delivery. So a co-op member cannot be related to anybody on the front end.
You can't be a TPI on any of these. Yep. Dispensary, on-site, or delivering.
Okay. A co-op license under this chapter shall be organized as a traditional co-op shall have all voting rights. Now, the thing with co-ops, like we all been mentioning, in America, we don't see a lot of co-ops. Outside of America, we see tons of co-op. I think in America, the largest co-op that we know of is oh my God, what are they called? Cranberry, Ocean Spray.
Oh, Ocean Spray, yeah.
Ocean Spray Cranberry. There's not just one giant cranberry farm that supports all the cranberry juice we drink. It's multiple cranberry farmers that are part of this collective cooperative of cranberry farmers, and that's how we all get our lovely cranberry juices. Another co-op here that you may know is the store that's REI. REI is also a co-op. Their members, is it Land O'Lakes is a co-op? Okay, now that makes sense. You know,
is it Land O'Lakes in New York? New York also?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where they are located, but I didn't know they were co-op. Ace
That's
Hardware,
good. I love
co-op.
that. I love that.
I like
in Europe, like Italy and Spain, I think are the top in co-op formations.
Eco Mundo Cleaning Uptown is a co-op. I like to shout them out because they do a good job. But that's a good example of a New York worker co-op. All these people own this cleaning service cooperatively. They all get shares of that. So I mean, I think when the thing about the co-op model is that this license was envisioned as a real social equity impacting license. An opportunity to do business in a different way, right? An opportunity to work collectively in partnership.
In my mind too, imagine you had smaller processors. And in the Canadiva community, we've got a lot of women who have been in this game for a long, long time, and if you were able to partner with, 4 or 5 of people that you've been doing this with to form a co-op, and obviously you have to do whatever tests you need to do to make sure that you can operate together. I think that that's a great opportunity. You could potentially just share one facility. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great license that may not. All these licenses are going to be a lift. They're all going to be a lift. To say that anything is going to be easy is an understatement. It wouldn't be fair to say that. But is it going to be like an entire cultivation or opening an entire retail? I don't think it's going to be as arduous as that. If you were able to get a micro, could you also be part of a cultivation co-op? Right now, no. Right now, no. Co-op
and micro, it has cultivation in it.
Exactly.
But
and
also it's front. It's the front.
Forward.
It's customer. It's customer facing as opposed to cultivation, which is business to business.
But I see a lot of positives to having micro co-ops.
See, and then we talked about that earlier. It would have to be, in my opinion, if you're doing a co-op, traditionally co-ops are like businesses together. If you're doing a micro, you would need a processor, a cultivator, a retailer, say, right? But they're not going to be individual licenses. They're all going to be together. So you could technically, you're in essence forming a co-op by saying you're going to work with these people, but you're not. You're forming a business relationship, and you could potentially apply for a micro business license and operate the same way. The co-op license to me is a group of like businesses.
Right. So if you could get 5 people that wanted to enter into a micro co-op, it would be the same thing, except the fact that it would.
But it wouldn't be a co-op. It would just be a micro with 5 people who have 5 distinct skills.
Nicole, what do you envision in that micro co-op? Like, how do you see it?
Well, I just think like there's a lot of talk right now about the fact that not everybody that wants to enter into a micro business wants to do cultivation. I want to do cultivation, so it works for me. But I'm just thinking about the people that are saying like, oh, I wish I could just be a microprocessor. I wish I could just be a micro distributor. I think it's more really the microprocessor. And not only
so
that,
what is
like,
the difference? Do we have a maximum of what you could do? Can I apply for a processor license and just be a small processor? Like, do I have to?
Theoretically, but I don't know what the state is going to have benchmarks. And if you're taking a processor license and you're not really producing, enough in your category, they might not renew your license. Like they look at like what your output is, whether you want to jump up in the license or whether you want to just maintain your license. They look at, how you're contributing to the overall market. And so, hey, Colin, Colin Palmer has joined us.
Julie says the difference is the additional benefits of distribution and retail for the micro.
For the micro,
right.
Yes. And so my point is that if you had a group of small businesses, it's like a small business co-op or people with small, then you could have like the division of labor, which is what a co-op. So if you have a cultivator co-op that's forming, that's simply a cultivator co-op, then they're forming because they want to produce a particular product or whatever the reasons are that a micro. But most people are going to form co-ops because they're going to do that, right? They're going to have processors in their cooperative. They're going to have distributors and distribution people licenses in their co-ops, and so they'll be able to have sort of a market, a set market that they're creating within that co-op. They're not, yes, you could have a co-op.
That sounds vertical. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening either.
But it's allowed. But that is allowed. You can have a.
It's allowed because the micro business itself.
No, I'm just saying in the cultivator
in the co-op model you're talking about, Nicole.
Yeah,
right?
in the co-op model. Forget about my dreams, but in the co-op model, you can have.
Forget about Nicole's model. The co-op model that's written.
Little violin. So, but in the co-op model, you can have a distributor in your. Sounds weird. Is that how you say it? In your co-op, you can have a processor in your co-op. You can have a cultivator in your co-op. Multiples of those. Like that's sort of. You don't have to have just.
But the co-op is not one or the other. It's not like a distributor co-op.
It's not multiple people with different skill sets. A co-op, in like the traditional co-op outside of cannabis. A co-op is like what Annette said. I love the fact that these co-ops formed in New York City right now are mostly women that have been cleaning homes, that instead of, working for an agency that's going to charge somebody $40 and pay them $20, they decided to get 5 of their girlfriends together, still charge $40, still pay themselves $20, but now they're building a business, and at the end of the year, they share their profits. So that's what a lot of these co-ops that are formed here in New York specifically. Bike shops are a big co-op, especially in California. But here in New York, it's like entities.
Right. So I thought the model was like, okay, we're going to have like 6 cultivation sites, and then we have one processing site that the co-op is all sharing, right? Like, so that would be that's what you mean, Nicole, that you'll have like a processing site that you're all sharing, and you have 6 different cultivation sites, right? And like that model seems great to me because you now have multiple farmers like sharing a resource, and then everybody's paying into that resource or getting profits out of the resource, so like that makes sense to me. Now, in terms of the micro business, just going back to this debate a little bit, I think what I would ask for is that we be able to break micro business up a little bit differently. Like, do I have to cultivate? Like, can I just do like consumption and maybe distribution?
Can I process and retail?
Like, or like, do I want to be a processor, an in-house baker, right? Because I'm processing, and
you can't. Like, everyone has to grow. That's where
right, which is why I think like
that's what you're saying.
Right. What I'm saying is no, it shouldn't be that everyone has to grow, because based on the real estate and based on like how many facilities are we going to find where you're going to be able to cultivate and do the other things that you're supposed to do in a micro? I think there needs to be a little bit more flexibility in breaking those pieces up.
Right, but I don't think that you're going to get flexibility from the state in that, like, because they really see.
They want it to be like a craft cannabis house, like a craft brewery,
and
like a
they want it because,
microbrewery.
like,
I
there's
get
a
it.
place, the brewery up by me. I always
pick a lane
all the
and
time.
focus. Yes, Colin, I agree. Pick a lane.
And then I think things will evolve. Like, I genuinely think things will evolve.
But we got, but we should comment and we should push back on some of the stuff, because just think about it, in practicality. Nicole, yes, you can cultivate, right? And that's what you want to do. And to your point, when you said at the beginning, I don't know if everybody's going to want to cultivate in their micro license. Like, some people want to have be a microprocessor. Like, I want to be able to do small batches, or.
But you're not allowed. And that's what I'm saying. That's where, if you allowed micro businesses to enter into a co-op, you could do that, and you would have to have them working together. So there's artist co-ops, right? So cannabis is regulated. So they've created this reality that you can't sell and grow.
Web.
But if you were an artist, you could create your product and sell your product. It wouldn't be a problem. And you can create an artist co-op, and you could rent out space in your loft for people to come paint in it, or do whatever they need to do, or to sell in it, or to show in it. And I'm saying you could have the same thing for micro businesses, because it's very difficult to, it's like, oh, it's so great, I can have my farm stand and then my offsite, but that's expensive. You know what I mean? It's a lot of capital to create but if you had a co-op, and you had a co-op store that showed multiple people, small businesses in your store at that co-op, or if you had a processor where multiple people could go and process, or if you all wanted to get together.
Listen, I love a community kitchen, honestly.
That's another perfect example.
I got somebody on my side.
Yeah, I would.
No, I don't think it's a side. I think it's about I agree.
I just think that.
I agree that it needs to be broken up in different ways. Like, I think we need to have a little bit more flexibility in saying, like, okay, I want to centralize manufacturing for these 5 businesses, or I want to centralize, I want to use a commercial kitchen for these 6 people, whatever. Mm-hmm. That there needs to be a little bit more flexibility, A, in the co-op model, and B, in the micro business model.
Yeah. And I also would like to see in each license type, if that's the case, if people want to be a microprocessor or a micro, what is the other one you said? Not cultivator.
Distributor.
If you want to be, let's say, microprocessor, let's say you do want to do small batch. I don't see why you wouldn't offer them a license based, why is my license attached to volume? I mean, yeah, maybe it should have minimums. I don't know. But I don't see that. Are we all going to look for these 1906s, or is a Buddy Bakes going to be able to do her small batch processing? I'm sorry, I want to go to Buddy. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I think that does there need to be a size for a processor? You know what I'm saying? Could a distributor be one truck? You know what I mean? So does it to say that I need to have a fleet to be a distributor, or can I have 2 trucks in a dream? I need
bicycle.
There is that delivery license. That the delivery license also another license that's meant to be for only 25 employees. So that's kind of like a micro business. So I think there's a lot of models in the regulations right now that are telling us, okay, there may be opportunity to break things apart a little bit differently. I understand business to business versus business to customer, and not, blurring the lines there because of the tier system. But I think to Nicole's point and to the point that you're making, I think there's just some opportunity to look at this a little bit differently.
Yeah, right. I mean, I feel
comment.
Yeah, comment. Yeah.
They probably will. Chances are they're not going to change anything on this cooperative. And
you know what? I was so surprised that they even put it, because, like I said, I've been studying co-ops for a little while. I was like, do they know what a co-op is? I was literally like, are we sure? Because a worker co-op is different from a producer co-op. You know what I mean? And we'll touch that as we go through. So traditional co-ops have voting rights. Each person has 1 vote, pure democracy. Comprise no less than 2/3 majority of the governing body. maintain a controlling interest in the traditional co-op at all times, own no less than 51% of equity of the traditional co-op at all times, and not have their capital interest subordinated to the capital or interest of another member of the group. Everything has to be even Steven in this model. You must own and control the co-op, its profits, earnings, and losses distributed to members based on labor, not capital investment. So that's another thing. You can't say a lot of co-op models you have to pay to be a part of if they're already established. If you're forming them, it's a little different. But if you are like it's already established and you want to come in, sometimes there's a fee to enter. But if I pay more, I don't get double vote. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can't purchase power.
Exactly. You can't purchase your power. Such membership. Any questions there? Are we good? Yeah. And then you're welcome, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
Okay. Such members shall not have their capital contributions proportionately tied to voting. We said that. Comprise of less than half. Receive distributions. You shall receive distributions from the co-op based on labor contributions. Receive no less than 50% of profits, provided shareholders are receiving distributions. Now, this is where we get a little interesting because there was a discernment between members and shareholders. So we want to just acknowledge that they're members and there's what I see as investors.
So that's correct. So shareholders have a monetary investment, a monetary connection to the cooperative, where members are actually part of the operations of the cooperative and make the day-to-day decisions and weigh in on operational issues.
Exactly. What did Kate said? What if a co-op of a mic? What if a co-op of micro? Do you mean or micro?
What if it's a co-op of micro businesses that otherwise meet the micro requirements?
I think that's a great idea, Kate.
Co-op of micro business, but that is a co-op.
This goes back.
That is exactly a co-op.
No, it's not. It's not because
what is it?
Micro business is a separate license.
Oh, she's saying, does it meet the micro requirements? No, we just no.
No.
I think that it should. I think that it should because people that form co-ops do it because they need the assistance. They need, they're coming together to expand their market reach, to pool resources. That's exactly why people form co-ops. And so the people that need that the most are the little guys.
Yeah. Someone asked, in a co-op, aren't all employees members equal owners? Yes. They have equal voting rights. Members, employees, maybe not.
In a co-op, aren't all of the members
because
employees?
You could have a co-op and have members and still hire people to work in the business. So, but they're not members, they work for you. So there is a discernment there. Your business can have employees that aren't profit sharing parties, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So there's two kinds of co-ops. You can have a co-op of businesses that are individual businesses that come together as a collective, or you can have
a worker,
an association. Yeah. Where the workers own the business.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Patagonia.
And they say worker co-op, but I'm sorry, a bunch of farmers are not a worker co-op, in my opinion. A bunch of transportation. I got 5 guys that each own their own trucks and we form a transportation co-op. They're small business owners that we just got together. You know what I mean? So yes. All right. Are we moving on? Add as another type. There's a lot of comment in this part because there's a lot
co-op is a lot of, yeah.
Yeah. This is, I think, the most comments we've got. Such members shall not have their cap. We did this already?
No, is this shall or shall not? Such members shall. This is a shall.
Shall not have their capital.
You shall not have their capital contributions proportionately tied to voting rights.
Right. Like meaning that Right, like you're not going to get a bigger vote because you
Right.
put in more money.
I'm going to buy 2
everybody
votes.
has an equal. Everyone has an equal vote.
Does anyone help set up business plans? I don't, but I don't know where you live, Ciara, but a lot of the local, what are they called? Small business associations, Columbia University, Columbia Business School. It's a free program. You could find them. There's a bunch of places that will help you. You're in Buffalo. Yes, there are. I would hit up
the small business services.
Any small business services.
SBS, New York City Small Biz. I know if you're upstate, the library is another place you can go for help for business plans.
And depending on what you want to do, Sarah, if you want to be like a cultivator, there's even agricultural groups that will help you create a farm plan and an operations plan. Which
Hudson Valley is one of them. HVADC. It's Hudson Valley Agriculture. Kate can post it. I don't know their HVADC.
That's out of her. That's pretty far from Buffalo, but yeah. But I'm.
Oh well. Hey, maybe they can do some stuff remote. You never know.
Look them up.
We live in post-pandemic times.
Dispensaries can't form co-ops, though.
Dispensaries cannot form co-ops. Absolutely not.
No.
I'm just responding to them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No. Retail. Are you, if you're looking for the retail regs, we did them 2 nights ago, 2 times before. They're all uploaded on our social pages, so you could find them.
So
Harlem Business Alliance has a program.
I'll look for the link. It is coming up on the 16th. I think I registered actually for it. And actually, if you're a woman-owned business, you can apply for the WMBE, whatever it is, for the New York State Certified through the Harlem Business Alliance as well.
Yes, they do help with that.
Come upstate.
Be up there in March, doing Rochester, Buffalo in March. Jack, I'll make sure I
Jack, we're gonna. Oh, in March you're going? Maybe I'll come with you and
come with me. The latter part of March, I'm going to be in Rochester and then in Buffalo.
Sounds good.
What are you doing?
We are doing Women's History Month. I got a nice. Listen, I love Rochester. Don't threaten me with a good time. I love Rochester. Don't sleep on the
Shout
finger.
out to Rochester.
Rochester, Buffalo is my jam. Oh, HBODC only serves Hudson Valley, but maybe they'd know of Buffalo resources. I would hit them up. Hudson Valley Agricultural Development Corp, if I'm not mistaken.
Never hurts to pick up the phone and ask the question.
Listen, the answer is no until you ask. That was like sales training 101. Okay, so let's move on. We read this. No less than 51%. Own and control the cooperative. Permit member contributions to consist of tangible, intangible, and other benefits to the cooperative, including money, labor, services, promissory notes, agreements to contribute, and contracts to be performed. Otherwise provided by the co-op internal rules, which is very interesting. Because now I
think this is cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I think this speaks to like, okay, you know what? We know that sometimes economically it's hard. There's capital barriers, but if someone comes in with a promissory note or
an amazing skill set,
or an amazing, like maybe I'm the person who in this cooperative has amazing tech abilities, or I'm the Excel guru, or that could be something that's monetized in this, or that becomes something, a tangible asset for the co-op, right? So I think this is cool. I think this is a nod to alternative economy, and that's really the spirit of a co-op. Like I always think about how about if women started a babysitting co-op, right?
I would join.
Yeah, something,
especially when mine was little.
But just think about I just say that in this co-op, maybe somebody is an amazing, I don't know. They've said they have an amazing farm plan and they want to share that farm plan. Whatever the case might be, I think this is great. It's a nod to being able to use more than just money to
because cooperatives' selling point core wonderfulness
It's support.
is democracy.
Yeah, and
It's fairness. It's democracy. It's you're gonna value someone more than just their money. It's their contribution, which is wonderful. All right. Well, this is a shall or a shall not. Okay, shall. You shall permit, before determining the amount of profits, its governing body to set aside profits to create or accumulate a capital reserve, reasonable reserves, or for specific purposes such as expansion, blah, blah, blah. Remember what I said before about the illustration, which you charge 40, you pay yourself 20, that spread, that $20 goes back into the company. At the end of the year, you assess, you put money back into the business, you split the profits. I think that is a win-win. It really, it ties you, it tethers you to your business, and it allows you to work with the people that you want. You know what I mean? So it's kind of forcing you to put money aside to continue your business. Permit distribution, you shall permit distributions to be made in any form, including cash, capital credits, allocated patronage equities. So many words. You shall permit distribution to shareholders based on their capital contributions. You shall generate returns for members and shareholders based on profitability. The co-op shall never have fewer than 5 members that contribute primarily with labor. Which I find a little interesting that that's specific to labor. But hey, I need clarification around that. Because if I'm a member, it doesn't necessarily mean.
I think it's so that you don't have a bunch of shareholders and one member.
Got that. Thank you. The office may request documentation and other support evidence to verify validity of the applicant's co-op formation as described. And then I think this is like, it's not much after that. Yeah. Operations. You shall abide by all the operational requirements of each license type, of license activity it performs in accordance with the law, and you shall notify the office of any changes in membership within 30 days of such change. So if someone leaves and you have to do whatever you need to do to get them out, buy them out, what have you, and you go down to 4, you got to let them know. And then you better get back up to 5.
Yeah. And it's 30 days. You have 30 days on all.
Right. So now you could get one person out, one person in, and be like, somebody left, but somebody's in, we're good. You know what I mean? But you just have to communicate.
Within 30 days, yeah.
Is it meant to be inclusive of laborers? I don't know what that means.
I
think it was referring to the
like your employees, like your work,
the
like
minimum of 5
members.
Employed members, right? Isn't that what it said? And
Right. Laborers. I got, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe the word laborer sounds like worker, but doesn't necessarily. Members and workers can be the same, right? But sometimes they don't have to be. But I guess in this case they are technically. If you have 5 distributors, you have 5 business owners technically. You're all working. I'm thinking even in the range of you got 5 dudes with trucks, or 5 women with trucks. Let me clarify. 5 women with trucks. I do love the concept. You know what? As I was saying, you know what it is really, because I know quite a few gentlemen who have had issues with the law, weren't able to get jobs. And this created a pathway to business ownership for them. So I can see some of those same people forming a co-op and
5 women with trucks.
5 women with trucks. That's the name of the business. 5 chicks with trucks.
You just started a co-op.
I'll go get a truck if I gotta get a truck.
That reminds me of these 2 sisters. I don't know if anyone knows. Shout out to these 2 sisters from the Bronx that have a tow truck, and they like go around and they do videos of themselves on the
No,
tow
you know, I
truck.
had a flat the other day. I wish I would have known.
They own it's two sisters in a tow truck. I love them.
Is that the name of the business?
I don't know that that's the name of the business, but I'm sure there's people out there that know who I'm talking about. They're in the Bronx and they're amazing. So
I love that. I love
there
that.
are women that
We
like
need
ride
to
around the
find
truck.
them and tell them to go apply for this Lincoln license.
Distribution co-op.
I don't know if you want to drive a tow truck around though with your.
Hey, if you can get a tow truck, you can get another.
You can get a truck. You can get a truck. Exactly.
That's the prize, because there are rules and licenses around trucking companies. So if that's your jam, you already got to be legit first and foremost. Your insurance is already special. You know, I don't know what your insurance is going to look like if you're transporting cannabis, but there are already rules and regulations.
Insurance on another day. Insurance on
yeah,
another day.
right. All right, let's move on. I have 5 women in a truck. I love it. Okay, fees. We're gonna fly through this because this was, although this is like short, the section kind of, it's meaty, and a lot of folks aren't familiar with co-ops in general. So you have to learn co-op language. There's a great organization called Democracy at Work here in New York. And you could definitely check them out. They have great videos on YouTube. That's how I started learning about co-ops. Believe it or not, Women in Community, Pilar, started talking about co-ops years ago. I'm like, what the heck is that? And I just really started to learn. So I think that co-ops is an awesome model. So let's hit fees. And I only highlight so I know where I'm at. Remember when we did, I don't know if anyone was here for our cultivation chat.
I was supposed to say the same
I don't
thing.
even know what day it was. Tuesday? Was that Tuesday?
Yeah.
What day am I? Yeah. Okay, yes. The prices are so different. And I think it was whatever the fee was, plus $250 per square foot times
for 500.
That's still a lot.
It comes out a lot more.
Yeah.
So this for outdoor tier 1, and then you got tier 1 through 4, 15,000, 25,000 square foot, and then you could see how it goes up, but you're paying 25 cents per square foot of cultivation up to 25,000 square feet. Can you have less? Yes. But can you have more? No.
So at that 25,000 square feet, it's like $6,250 plus 15,000. If we
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the maximum, you're at like 55,000.
Yeah.
And here at the maximum, you're at like 35,000, right?
No, 55.
Here?
30 plus
plus 25 times
25 cents times 100,000. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
55.
So that's outdoor tiers. Then there's mixed light tiers, and you could see the differences. Then there's indoor tiers.
For those that don't know, mixed light is outdoor and supplemental light with sunlight in a greenhouse. The greenhouse could be climate controlled, or it could be just like a hoop house. It's all the same. Mixed
That's
light.
mixed light.
That's mixed
Okay.
light.
And then indoor is the most expensive, 30,075 cents per square foot. And then combo
and
is
that's indoors most expensive because that's the least sustainable, or
I'm assuming. I mean, it's interesting because they made everything else equated on it, and then they tried to, I guess, I don't know if the right word is discourage people based on the fees, or I don't know what they're planning to use the extra fees for. If it's
it is weird because it is strange. Okay. And then you went to co-op combo. Combo again is
like outdoor.
It's outdoor or indoor?
No. It's out. I meant the fee pricing is like outdoor, but combo is mixed light with outdoor. So you would have an outdoor grow, and then you could have a sunlight grow that's supplemented by unlimited amount of lights, and that it could be a completely climate controlled greenhouse, or it could be a hoop house. It's all the same, which is also a little bit weird that they put all that in one thing.
Yeah, I don't
because if you're paying so much money for indoor, But then if you just go to, like, if you use a climate controlled greenhouse, which is basically indoor with sunlight, you have a huge discount. So they're trying to, I guess, push everybody towards greenhouse.
Yeah, I think they're discouraged. They're trying to discourage this indoor because of the. I mean, I think.
But the energy consumption of an enclosed greenhouse could probably be more than indoor, quite honestly, because at that point you're fighting the elements to keep it cool.
Yeah.
With the indoor, you can insulate it, you keep it protected from the cold, you keep it protected from the heat. So it doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a commentary point.
A lot of safety issues with indoors, fires, electrical, structural permits.
Outdoor for sure, but like a professional indoor, you can set it up safely.
The cost of indoor to climate control.
Colin is kind of co-signing. Indoor is about the same with HVAC.
Okay.
Interesting. All you cultivators, I'm gonna come see you next year. You know.
So it doesn't. So Colin, it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't cost more to heat or cool a greenhouse that's like a glass greenhouse than it does an indoor facility.
Okay. So let's move on. I can't even contribute to the conversation. I told you, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw what I grew last year. I couldn't even grow a carrot.
Did you grow last year, Tanya?
I tried to grow carrots. Okay. It did not work.
Vegetables are difficult. Root vegetable. I'll come set you up with a grow for this year.
Please,
you have a medical card, right? Yeah. I'll give you seeds.
Yes, I do. And I'm a caregiver too. Specifically, I'm a caregiver. I don't have older card, but I'm a caregiver, so I can grow technically. All right, ready? Fees. We did that tier 4 co-op processor. $5,000 per premise. You're allowed to. Remember we said that. Adult distributor license, $7,000 per operating premise. Co-op distributor, $3,500 per operating premise. But remember, you need 5 people. You need 5 members. So I don't know if they all have different locations, how that works. Because is everybody parking their vehicle at the same spot? You know, or are you going to keep it at separate locations? So that's something I would want clarification on. And I know that there were no regs about it, but I did notice that the adult delivery license is noted as far as fees, and it's $4,500. And if I'm not mistaken, and Nicole and Annette correct me if I'm wrong, these fees are based on what, face value, but we're not talking about social equity yet, because that means these fees could be lessened. Am I correct?
Any of the fees for application for licensure could be waived or reduced, or depending
if you are a social equity,
depending on social equity and the circumstances as deemed by OCM.
Correct. They haven't spelled out the circumstances under which they will determine waiving or reducing the fees. But as long as we're talking about social equity, when we were looking through section 120 the other day, and they list out all the social equity categories, they have left off, despite the fact that it's in the MRTA as a social equity category, women, minority-owned businesses, and women minority-owned businesses. Those are not spelled out in the regs, and I don't know if it was to circumvent a lawsuit or not, but we're just calling people's attention to it.
Right. So this is where, honestly, at this point, this is where the rubber meets the road. It is, you're going to have to go through these again, or watch the video again and make your comments. I'm going to share really quickly because I have it from the last time we were here, and then Nicole can talk about it really quickly. So God, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. We have on the New York Small Pharma website, we have a campaign called the Share Your Voice campaign, which is a portal that will allow anybody that goes to the website, you can we have a regulations tab. Under the regulations tab is a timetable and share your voice. Under the timetable, like literally has the timetable for all of the regulations. You can click, it's clickable to read the regulations in whole, broken down into different parts. Then we also have a column, we will let you know when they close. They all close on February 13th. We also have a column that will list the New York Small Pharma comments once we post them up there. And then also a column where you can click a button and it'll open up an email populated to the regulators. It's already addressed to the regulators from you with the subject line filled out, and inside the body will have the comments, and it's completely editable. You can edit it. You can remove comments that you might not agree with. You can add the reasons why you support the comments. You can add additional comments, or you can ship it off the way that it is, or there's also a button there where you can start from a blank email. But it's just 2 clicks and your comments are off. And so if you don't know where to start, or you don't have time to read the comments, but you want to send something in, it's a great way to start because it's already boilerplated for you. And so on the Share Your Voice page, we'll have the different green buttons that'll say Share Your Voice on the topic, and you can click on it. It opens up the email from you to them, and then you can do with it as you will, and hopefully send it off.
And that makes your life super easy. You don't have to really just click it. I'm using it myself. And then if you want to edit the body of the email, just edit the body of the email. Put what you want, put what you don't want. Ask for clarity around certain issues. What's great with having it already populated is there probably are points in there that you want to comment on, and you don't have to go back and find them. It's already kind of listed, and then you may have a different stance, but then you can at least say what your stance is and send it off. If they get 10,000 comments, they got to read them.
They do, and it goes on record. So even if we don't get the regulations changed, if it's proven that we were right all along, that all goes on record, and it all helps. And we're also opening up that portal to the community. If people have comments that they want to share to us or other organizations, Canadiva, Audubon Hay Society, anybody that wants to has a point on something, we can incorporate it in that email, because the more people that make similar comments that are justifiable, the more chances we have in like moving the needle of change at the OCM. So it's very important to be engaged in this. It's not a spectator sport.
You gotta have skin in the game. That to Nicole's point. And I think the other thing is too, there's a lot of talk. My friends at Bronx got 70 folks together over this past weekend or last week, and it was great, and they're going to continue on this work. But I think there is going to be a call to activism too around these regulations, because we have 45 days. We want to make sure that we're standing up the best cannabis economy, the most equitable cannabis economy possible. And so if we're taking the time for commentary, we got to take time for the follow-up too when they come back to us, right? Because there's going to be another 45-day period, and we want to make really good use of that as well. So
absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nicole.
No, I was going to say, I just put in the chat, I put in a link to the New York City cannabis comments. So Deshita Dawson, who is the head of the executive director for the cannabis section of the Small Business Association of New York City, she's also doing regulations, and there'll be one tomorrow morning. So there's the link to register for that. And I know Bronx also sent me links for people to contact them if they want to get involved. Bronx is very it's headed by several very strong women, with Pilar being one of them, Take Root Justice, and they're very good at organizing and grassroots, and so they're going to be organizing rallies. So they're going to be a great group to follow. So I'm just going to pull up that link, and I'll put that also in the chat.
And as far as what else is going on, you got till the 13th. Then we'll hopefully soon after, probably not right away, but a couple weeks, I'm imagining, we'll get a second
we take
set.
some long naps.
We'll get a second set of regs. We'll hopefully, or we'll get revised regs. I hope they don't just issue them without a second look,
like they did the card licenses.
That's correct.
Yeah. And packaging issue some lab ones too. Quick, like didn't the lab
closed, packaging closed. I probably have to update the website to move it over to red.
Enforcement is February 9th, right?
Enforcement maybe February 9th. Yeah. And so we don't have our comments up yet, but by the end of the weekend we're going to start putting them up there, and everything from definitions all the way through we're going to be posting comments on. And it's not hard to read these regs. It's time consuming, but you can just Google, or not Google, but like control find the topic that you want. Like if you want to be a cultivator, read the cultivation regs. If you want to do distribution, read those. So it's, everyone can read them. It's not that hard.
It's not. And if you're not great at it like me, you can always download Speechify and have him read it to you. It's like a Kindle for the regs. That's what it is. And there's no shame in it. If you need help, literally do it. Next thing I was going to have my 15-year-old read them to me, but he might attack me in my sleep. So I was like, well, maybe not. So you have time to make your comments. Don't wait too long. New York City, New York State are doing a bunch of stuff to keep you informed and educated. Pay attention. On the bottom, you see all of us. Beck isn't here tonight. She had other obligations, but the Canadiva, Audubon Hayes Society, New York Small Pharma, Mary Says NY. Feel free. You can always, you should follow us just because. But please, if you have any questions, you can message us. I am available. I check our messages on the Canadiva all the time. So please, yes, let us know. And if you have any additional questions, please let us know. Email us. I'm Tanya@thecanadiva.com. Just send me a note. And ladies, anything else? Because now I'm just like, ding, ding, ding.
I'm just gonna post really quickly the Canna Bronx.
Yes, please.
There, and also
join all these videos, join all these streams. Like literally, it's just a matter of reinforcing the information that you want to learn. I mean.
And I honestly, there's a lot of different perspectives out there, and I think that's the beauty of the conversations with Tashida's conversations, the Canna Bronx conversations. Like cannabis is a really inclusive and diverse field out there in New York, and so like there could be different perspectives on all of these things. And so
I heard a bunch.
Your comments, I've learned a lot in these conversations, just the things that other people are thinking about, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about that, So really good to just be involved in like more conversations from more different people from like all over the state, because different things mean different things to different folks, right? Like upstate and downstate are two different markets. The boroughs are different markets. So we need as much diversity and commentary as possible, because that's what's going to really make the market effective and amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. And I just wanted to also say that I just was so touched at how many people are like reposting our advertisement for this on the Revel. Really helped us out. Can Inclusive. So I can't remember everybody, but so many people reposted, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you for tuning in. For some of you came to all 4 webinars, so thank you so much. And a huge thank you to my co-hosts, the Canadiva, Audubon Hayes Society, and Mary Says New York, because I don't think none of us individually could have pulled this off on our own. So it was a big group.
Nor would we have wanted to.
No, I definitely would not have wanted to.
This was quintessential, not just women supporting women, but community supporting community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just how we do.
We just gave our time. So thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Nicole.
I didn't mean to put that. But thank you anyway. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Are we done, ladies? Are we hitting the road?
I think so. I think we're good. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful night. Get your comments in. Keep checking the New York Small Pharma website, or you can sign up for our newsletter, and we will let you know when we get our comments up. I'm working on
it. All right, everyone. Have a great week. Get those comments.
Go smoke those joints.
Thank you. Right now. No. See you later, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
you.